got it bumping.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of SOMASATIONs. Episode number 3
Episode number 3
with Alex and Liam. Today we're going to be talking about sample roasting, why we do it, and what it involves.
Yeah. So, as a specialty coffee roastery, our selection, our offering is seasonal.
Yeah.
So our coffees change. We don't have the same coffee all year round. We like to have
Very rarely
coffee.
have it more than once as well.
Yeah. We like to, we like to pick the coffees that will suit our customers and suit our offering, and have the best of what we can get, and what we can deliver at an affordable price, I suppose, as well. But while retaining that quality. So. We kind of have different specifications, whether we want something for, say, to be really good on a filter coffee, or something to serve to our wholesale customers on espresso.
Yeah, or for our cafes, or for just a general, everything really, I suppose.
So there's loads of different specifications as to what we look for in a coffee. And one way to find out whether the coffee is good is this bad boy here, the Ikawa. So the great thing about this Ikawa is we have 2 roasters. We have our Gießen W15A and the 6 kilo Gießen as well.
Yep.
They're very large, roasters for production. We can't do sample roastings of a sample, say like this, that is 100 grams. So this is Ikawa. We can do small batches, 50 gram roasts. It's also very quick as well. So we don't have all this leftover coffee lying around once it's roasted.
We can roast it as well. You can roast like 3 or 4 different profiles.
Exactly, and we can get that coffee tasting as good as possible.
Yeah. Before we buy it.
Before we decide to buy it and see whether it suits.
Or it was also kind of designed to take to origin because it's compact and light. Hopefully we'll be getting to origin soon after all this is over. But it was also designed to be able to just go like this and take it to a farm and plunk it down and roast.
Plug it in,
on the profiles
connect
that
the
you're
iPad.
familiar with, and taste something with the farmer with them, I suppose. As well.
Yeah, exactly, and it's quite robust. So it is. We have a Pelican case over there, so it can travel. We can just whip it out, roast some coffee on the side.
This year, maybe next year.
Yeah. So we the last 2 days.
Yeah.
We've been inundated with samples.
We've got loads. It's great. It's always a fun day at the roastery when we get samples, because it's just something new and interesting for everyone to kind of jump on, and obviously tasting it is great. But
getting the whole team involved.
We had a big cupping today with most of the staff that were available to come and join.
Which you'll see in a minute.
And then so just really cool samples from like Ethiopia, Brazil, Nicaragua.
Some experimental processes and varieties as well from
really
Brazil. Some super funky, really weird coffees, but great coffees.
Some direct trade bits as well. We're looking at working more direct this year, which is part of. I know this is kind of more sustainable as well, and
we want as much of the money that we spend on buying the coffee. We want as much of it as possible to go directly to the farmer and the people working on the farms.
Not there's anything wrong with buying through brokers, and that's all. Everyone has its place, but if we can't do that.
Yeah, we just want a little bit more, and to kind of, I suppose, build a relationship and connect with the farmer a bit more, and hopefully have their coffee next year as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So it would kind of feel like we're investing in the farm a little bit more as well, I suppose, and building that relationship. So we had some Mexicans, some Nicaraguans, Brazils, Ethiopians. Several of them were direct. And that cupping table was just absolutely banging.
It was one of the
It's probably one of the best cuppings I think I've ever had. While working in a roastery.
Sure. Definitely up there.
It was insane. So good.
Standout for me was probably the Yirgacheffe grown in Brazil. I think that was probably a huge,
it was insane. Yeah,
I've
it
never
was.
tasted anything like that before, to be honest.
Just to have that, because Yirgacheffe isn't a variety; it's a region in Ethiopia. But they've just experimented in Brazil by taking those coffee trees and going, well, let's grow them in Brazil. See how it comes out, and the end product is insane.
Crazy. And was it an SL28 as well? We had.
Again, another variety, Scott's Lab, the SL28, another variety that is typically found in a lot of Kenya, really.
So that's been grown in Brazil. So take a Kenyan coffee and grow it in Brazil, or take an Ethiopian coffee and grow it in Brazil.
Yeah, and it's working.
Nuances of both, almost like a hybrid almost.
Yeah, so and then with the Nicaraguans there was a lot of anaerobic fermentations. Another kind of relatively new experimental process, and it just makes the coffee incredibly funky and fruity.
They're kind of stored in sealed vats, there's very low oxygen content in the vats with anaerobic process, and the kind of that pressure that builds up kind of pushes the flavour of the skin and the mucilage into the coffee even more, which creates that kind of funky, fermented, fruity kind of booziness.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
So yeah, I mean the Ikawa is great. It's brilliant, and the amount of time you can save and the amount of green coffee that you save.
Yeah.
While doing it, so you don't have to roast. Say on the 6 kilo, we'll do a 4 kilo batch, and you've got 3 and a bit kilos left over, and then you do a cupping and go, well, that roast is bad.
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board, and then what do you do with the rest of the 3 kilos that's left over?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. Coffee goes in the top. We connect it to an iPad. We have our profile preloaded that we've made. You send it to the roaster via Bluetooth, and you basically click go. You can mark your color change as you're roasting your first crack, and take notes and store everything. And the great thing about it as well, at Ikawa, they have the online library. So
yeah, you can
roasters throughout the world can connect and upload their profile, and then so I could have a coffee and go, well, that profile didn't work. Let me have a look online and see if there's something that might suit. And I can pick theirs and use theirs.
There was like a Brewers Cup profile up there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
There's like some kind of filter. Yeah.
I know some people have used this in competitions as well, kind of roasting and then serving it straight away, which is very unconventional. Because typically you leave coffee degassed, but I suppose it's an amazing piece of kit. So we roasted all the samples, we let them sit for a day just to degas a little bit, and then we cupped them all this morning.
And then pick, I suppose. Enjoy them all.
Enjoy them all. Like, I mean,
a hard process
there's
picking, to be honest.
A couple of these, there's a good bit left, and they're going to be drunk
in the candy shop when you're 30. It's like, imagine that.
God, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. But,
so
that's great.
Yeah, great morning cupping. Some seriously good coffees coming your way soon.
Yeah, we've the Yerga from this till 28. That's definitely going to be coming.
Yeah, we picked a good few from this morning's tables, and the emails were sent. Emails were sent.
Yeah.
Reservations made. Purchasing made.
Yeah.
They're on their way.
Great coffees coming. Part of the cupping process is our bowls are about 200 ml, are they?
Yeah.
It's a 200 ml bowl. We grind 12.5 grams of coffee at a medium to coarse grind setting, and then we pour over boiling water, filtered water, straight on top of the grinds, and let that sit for 4 minutes.
Make sure all the ground is saturated.
Yeah, make sure everything's
and that sits for 4 minutes. And what you'll notice is that there's like a crust that forms. A crust forms across the top of the cup.
Yeah.
And after 4 minutes, what we do is we take a cupping spoon. So a cupping spoon, if you looked at it at first glance, you think it's a soup spoon.
Yeah. You can use
you can use a soup spoon. This is just a little bit. It's a bit deeper.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a really small ladle.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it that way. So yeah, it's a little bit deeper, and what you do is you break that crust and give it a stir, and that releases all the aromas. So that's your first kind of hint on the coffee, I suppose. Getting that kind of those kind of floral aromas.
Sorry, I kind of skipped a step. Sorry. So we grind the coffee. That grind, and then we do a dry aroma. So we smell it dry first, and then we cover it with water, and then you get the wet aroma, and then after you break your crust, and you get another wet aroma then again. So that's how we do that. Sorry.
So we break the crust, give it a stir, have a whiff, and then clean the cups. So there's kind of like almost like a crema from an espresso forms on top. So we just clean that off, so it's a nice clean bowl. And then once we hit 10 minutes, we like to let it rest a little bit, so it's not the heat kind of masking the flavour.
10 or 12 minutes around there, you kind of.
And then take your soup spoon, a little bit in. So we also have cups of water on the table, so you're not cross-contaminating the coffees between them. So we would dip our spoon in the water to rinse the spoon.
Yeah.
Get a nice, just a little bit. You don't have to fill the spoon, and you'll see in the video, you get a nice kind of loud sip. And that just hits every part of your palate.
The more noise you make, the better it tastes.
Exactly. A lot of people, when I've shown them how to cup,
people think we're taking the piss.
Always
people like, you're joking. You're like, no, or you'd be doing it in the cafe, and you can just see people looking at you, and you're like, they think I'm messing, or I don't know. But anyway, you're doing it in the back of the cafe, and like people are just looking at you like, what's this? But no,
so it hits every part of your palate, and you get that kind of
difference. You have to do it.
The sweetness, the acidity, the bitterness, and then. I mean, it is a learning curve. You have to learn whether you're tasting, maybe there's a defect in the roast, but the green coffee itself is actually really good. But maybe you just didn't roast it well enough, and the different profile would suit it better. Or maybe, you need to learn whether,
Yeah,
it's the coffee. The coffee's not up to our standards. It's not going to fit with the coffee that we want to sell.
Yeah.
That's not for us. So
you're kind of learning how to coffee. You might intentionally roast it badly, so you know what a roasty taste is, or an underdeveloped or overdeveloped taste is. So you can recognize that down the line and be like, no, it's not the coffee, it's the roast, and then that's just developing your palate over time, I guess.
Yeah, it's a lot of practice, and I think cupping is probably one of the funnest things to do.
Yeah.
Working in coffee,
definitely,
tasting all these new coffees and things like that.
And it's paramount for, doing it for. And we do it a lot with our new coffees, but we do it every week with our coffees that we roast every week for just regular production.
Yeah, anything on the shelves, anything on our website, anything that goes to wholesale customers. We taste everything. Yeah, so we cup weekly,
and we better it each week. Like that's why we cup. We cup it and then we tweak it, and every week it's every week's a new tweak. So we're tweaking every week, and it's just getting better and better and better.
Yeah, you have to.
When that coffee finishes, it's like, we kind of finally reached that pinnacle point, and it's gone. But that's just part of the fun,
Exactly. Yeah. So we would. That's how you do the cupping. We wouldn't just taste the coffees once. You want to keep kind of tasting, especially when you're tasting them with other coffees as well. And let the coffee cool, I think is another thing.
Yeah.
Do
2 passes. We do about 2 passes on it. We kind of cup it once.
Yeah.
And then kind of talk about it a bit, and then let it cool, and go out
Yeah,
again.
the flavors. Some flavors just start to develop a little bit more.
Yeah.
As it cools down. Like, for instance, like the last video, we used the Kenyan for the V60s.
Yes.
And we cupped that, I remember, and that's how we got the peach iced tea flavour, because it cooled and we were like, hang on a sec.
We didn't even have iced tea on there at all.
No.
Did we have peach maybe? But no.
I think we were kind of floating around with kind of like a peach nectarine kind of flavours.
It's definitely.
But as soon as it cooled, I think it was like the third pass, and it had been sat there, it had been brewed, I think it was about 16, 18 minutes, it was quite a while.
Yeah.
And then we just went, whoa. And then I think I said, peach, and then you went, that tastes like peach iced tea, and I was like, that's exactly what it tastes like.
Yeah.
And it's it's crucial for providing you with good coffee. Yeah. This is something that we have to do.
Yeah. And it's a great thing
to do. I love it. Like, so. Yeah.
So get ready for those coming up soon. Thanks for watching another episode of SOMASATIONs. Thanks a lot, and see you soon.